So, good evening and welcome to Drift Crash. This is definitely not the exact time, space and place as the previous episode. This week I have with me a big old clipboard with lots of things written on it, and what's written on here is all of the things that we need to get done so that this car can be at BDC round 1. Well, it's actually BDC round 2, but it's my round 1 because I missed the first one. Without further ado, I'm going to tell you all about what we're going to do to get the car ready, make sure it's all working, and tell you what's in this giant list of stuff. So the first point of call is obviously making sure that the engine, well, not only works, but actually runs. We still haven't turned the engine over. It is a brand new build. Obviously, we've all been stuck in our houses for a little bit, which means that it just didn't get done. Anyway, most of the things are connected. The fuel system's connected. We're in the midst of making the intercooler pipes. The intercooler's mounted, rad's mounted, that's all done. So the only bits left really are sort of fiddly bits like the oil breather lines, the fuel feed line, the oil feed line for the turbo, and yeah, just a little bit of piping and then plumb it all in, and we, in theory, have a working engine. Moving on to the interior, I've got this big row of gauges here that I need to plumb in. Water temperature, oil pressure, boost, and obviously a lambda so we know what the air-fuel ratio is doing. We need a battery cut-off so that we can cut the engine completely. Up here I have an inline fan to keep me cool, so I need to finish that off. And then some things are still loose and it's missing a battery. So again, not a huge amount to do, but just lots of time-consuming bits of work. Also, I'll need a handheld fire extinguisher to sit in the center console here, and then a plumbed-in fire extinguisher which will sit in the back and make sure I'm safe if anything goes completely tits up. Okay, so underneath the car, obviously one of the main things we're going to do is just check everything is safe and secure and none of the rose joints or anything are busted. Make sure nothing's come loose, because nut and bolt checking your car is quite important. We also need to discuss with the guys what spares package we're going to take. So have we got enough spare tie rods? Have we got enough spare lower arms, spare coilovers, spare tension rods? Basically, we need to be able to blow a corner off the car and get a bunch of hammers and just hammer it back out and fix it, and have the spare components there to do so. So yeah, we checked all that, you know, checking wheel bearings and brakes to make sure all the lines are tight. Thankfully at the front everything's all right at the moment, but did find a problem at the rear. Okay, so at the rear, the fabulous Mr. Jamie K made a discovery in that up here we've got a rose joint dead on one of the camber arms, which basically means that it will just clonk around and the camber won't be in a fixed position. Eventually the rose joint will fail, but that'll take quite a while. But the arms on the car, you know, like the arms that came on it originally, I don't know if people watching now remember when it was purple and I first got it, it was a right old heap. But yeah, it's come a long way from them, but they're the same arms, so they've had a good innings and they've been on circuit a good few times. And obviously we need to make sure we've got spare arms, make sure all the bushes in the arms are good, make sure we've got a spare diff. So I've got two different ratios that we'll be taking. I've got a 4.1 and a 4.3 diff, and this particular car runs 350Z drive shafts with some Garage D output flanges from the differential from Julian Smith. So if you want to run some 350, if you want to run some 350Z drive shafts, you can call Garage D and get the outputs from Julian and put them in your Sylvia. The CVs in them are much bigger and stronger than the old S14 ones, so they're less likely to break, especially when you're running really grippy Zec Nova tyres. These are the 240 treadwear Zec Novas. I'll be using these for running the car in, checking everything's fine, and then if the boys I'm up against are really, really fast, I do have a 140 treadwear, which would be much faster. But then, you know, I might run into problems with the drive shafts again. So it's, you know, a case of testing it and seeing what happens. And then I guess the last part of note, which you guys haven't been under here for a while, is this beautiful exhaust that Simon's made here at Carson. This is all in-house. So So yeah, if you've got a funky exhaust that in theory will pass regulations because it does have a silencer, then give them a shout. Oh, it's also got a 350Z gearbox, that's new. Anyway, now all this is done, it's not done, now we're intending to do all of this. If we do get it done, we'll be going to mapping, and the rest of this video should be me going to see Martin Batty and this making a lot of horsepower and not braking. Right then, you join me here today with this gentleman, Martin Batty from MB Automotive, and also Mr. Daniel. Anyway, what we're doing today is mapping the S15. So basically, it's a bit loud in there, so we'll go in to see what we can see. Right, so basically what's happening is we've hit a plateau at 400 and something horsepower. Can't quite figure out why the engine's not letting us make more power. Everything on there is meant to make easily 500 horsepower, but we've hit a bit of a wall. So otherwise, I mean, it gets to 400 really fast, so that's good. But I guess I'm chasing numbers at this point. Yeah, I may not be making the power expected, but it's not going to be slow. Well, that's that then, pretty much. We sort of hit a wall with it, didn't we, really, on power. We need a bigger turbo and we need some a little more headwork. Basically, it's my cock up and I've missed-spec'd something, which isn't ideal, but there you go. It does, however, go like a rocket, and let's see if this works, just while we're here. I reckon them tyres are quite sticky. Oh yeah.